Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. I'm Rick Kessler from RV Business. Also from RV Business, we have Sherman Goldenberg. And joining us this afternoon, we have TJ Reed. TJ is the president and CEO, and I'm going to use my notes because I've already forgotten, Daimler Truck Specialty Vehicles, which we, of course, know more intimately with Freightliner Custom Chassis Core, but also Thomas Built Buses. Is that right, TJ?
That's correct. Yeah, and,
All
and
right,
thanks,
all right.
Rick and Sherman, for having me. Appreciate it.
So this happens to be almost to the day 1 year since you've become the president and CEO. The hard-hitting journalist question is how's it been?
Yeah, it's great. What's the saying? May you live in interesting times, and we certainly live in those in the commercial vehicle space, no matter what we're doing. But no, it's been a great ride so far. A year's gone by quickly, and not without challenges, but having a lot of fun. New part of the business for me. Most of my career came from the truck side of the business, so this has been really fun for me to get to know. I'd say new customers, new products, very similar type concepts, but all in all, been just a great experience.
We were before we hit the record button, we were asking TJ where he's located, and you split the middle right between Freightliner and Thomas Built. So good for you.
Yeah, I am. You can find me on I-85 any given day. I either go north on 85 to High Point to Thomas Bus, or south on 85 to Freightliner Custom Chassis in Gaffney. So yeah, you can wave on the road. I'm tearing up 85 quite a bit, but no, it's great. I live right in the middle, and those two sister plants have been working together very closely for 30 years. And in this last year, we took the step of kind of bringing those businesses a little bit closer together. So it's been a really exciting part of the journey. It's really going to help us serve our customers better.
Crazy as the times are, your first year, having said that, your first year with the company has gone how?
It's great. I think when you look at our market position, we have certainly a strong following and certainly a lot of brand loyalty, and that persists. We got a lot of great partners, all the OEs that build on our chassis. A lot of work going on as we continue to develop new products. So I think that's been probably, for me, the most exciting part, is making those relationships and understanding how future development's going to go, but also taking care of our customers today with our dealer network. So as I come from that background on the truck side, I know a lot of the truck dealers and Oasis dealers. So it's also just a new wrinkle on kind of, I would say, extending that relationship. But it's great. I think now, the market's, certainly coming off those peaks post-COVID. It's been a little bit softer, but I think we're all certainly optimistic that we've kind of turning the corner and looking for brighter days ahead.
Is the Super C still as hot as it's been lately?
Yeah, you kind of see that mix shift a little bit, going from the Type A pusher to Super C, and a bit of changing tastes and demographics. But the great thing is we support both, and certainly both products have a place, and we certainly want to be a key player in supporting both of those platforms.
One of the questions I've been wanting to ask you, and you mentioned a little bit about your background, but you've been at Freightliner for how long? Or excuse me, Daimler Truck for how long?
Yeah, Daimler Truck, a little over 20 years, but kind of going. I think this is my 28th year in the industry. And so I spent the vast majority at Daimler. Most of my senior roles were in new product development, either engine and powertrain and vehicle. So that's where actually my first experience with the team in Gaffney and FCCC. Did a lot of engine work in the past, so got to know those guys really well. Just always impressed with just I would say the capability, creativity, and the unique markets. For the most part, coming from the truck side, your payload is goods, and when you come into specialty vehicles, the payload is people.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. So that's been an interesting wrinkle. But yeah, for most part at Daimler, but I also spent some time at Meritor, so had some experience on the supplier side, and actually ran their brake business. But one of my last assignments was running their battery electric team. So I had some experience in the new markets there, it's been very helpful as kind of stepped into this role.
Did you start? I'm just curious. Was engineering or more on the managerial side?
No, from most of my, not an engineer by trade, more finance.
Okay.
But it's funny when in my house, I grew up. My grandfather had trucks, my dad had trucks, had no, I would say, early plans to get into commercial vehicles or trucks. Just kind of shook out that way, and it's been a great ride. We couldn't imagine myself in any other industry, so it's just been fun from day one, and it's continues to be so.
What is Freightliner's focus for heading towards 2026? We're not there yet, but what's on the easel?
Yeah, I mean, there's I would say the buzzword is uncertainty. Obviously, as we kind of look at the overall market, a lot of questions, I would say, on overall demand driven by higher interest rates, tariffs, but also we're on I would say, the beginning stages of changes in vehicle emissions regulations. So we're kind of all driving towards this 2027 date where we would have new requirements for lower NOx engines. So that is being challenged in the courts right now. But when you would look at it from a development perspective, those take many, many years to put in place. And we're kind of first and goal within a year of kind of changing over those engines, and still some uncertainty on what the requirements are going to be. So as you can imagine, that kind of drives some challenges in planning, but I think we've got a lot of options, not only us, but certainly the rest of the market, that once those items become clear, we'll be picking right back up where we left off.
I'm always amazed at how you guys, I mean, you're basically asked to hit a moving target, but now this target is making lane changes without turn signals, maybe even getting off the freeway, 2 lanes over.
Yeah.
Kudos to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to stay focused. You can't overreact or underreact. Once you know the rules of the road, and then you can plan like any other business. But these are big technical changes, and we got to work closely with our suppliers, because it's not as easy that you just keep doing what you've been doing. You've got production lines that are changing over at our suppliers, new parts that are coming in. There's a lot of work that goes into this for many, many years. And when not just an engine change, we make updates to our chassis at the same time when we want to update cooling packages or electrical architectures. We usually kind of do these things in tandem. So yeah, from a planning perspective, it's a bit challenging, but we're staying pretty light on our feet. And, as we get certainty, we'll have plans in place, but I feel pretty good. We're well positioned.
We got a couple of high profile consumer RV shows coming up, one in Hershey, Pennsylvania, actually next week. And then the first of the year, of course, down in Tampa, the Florida RV Super Show. Freightliner has always earmarked those shows for some, perhaps anyway, some product debuts. Can you spill the beans on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, no big product launches, but I think it's always a good view too. When you look at Hershey, I think, with over 12 builders, I think we're going to have over 160 coaches on display. So you just get a view of depth and breadth of the product line, and a lot of different configurations for what our builders build upon. And so that gives our customers just the opportunity, again, to interface with our team, ask questions, understand kind of our capability. Obviously, as we kind of look at new introductions, as we kind of take over the development and manufacture of the Power Glide chassis for Tiffin, that's a big, exciting, endeavor for us to work with a great partner there. So we'll be rolling that out. But I think, for the most part, as we get into these shows too, it's just an opportunity again to make those touch points with end customers, with dealers and the OEs, and probably a lot of questions that you're asking me, they're going to ask us. Hey, what's going to happen next year? What do you see changing with your chassis? And we'll give them similar answers. But I think it's such a tight community. It's great to have those connections and touch points and make sure that we're communicating the latest and greatest. Also, a lot of things we had talked earlier on the support side. We're looking to roll out our road ready, I would say, suite of videos, so that we tie to our 24/7 app where users can actually go find nice tutorial, easy to follow, nice formatted videos on tips and tricks on how to maintain the coach. If they have any questions on servicing, I don't know if you're like me, I like to watch videos to learn things rather than read a manual. It's just super helpful. So any way we can make it easier for our users, we want to do that.
That's been a point of emphasis at Freightliner for quite a few years now, and that's that ownership experience, that customer experience. Still going to be the case, it sounds like.
Yeah, this is what I've just loved about the RV market too, and just the personalities that go with it. Very independent, adventurous personalities, right? But there's a huge sense of community. right? And certainly if you want to have these experiences with friends and family, but very tech savvy. And from my development background, that's pretty interesting. So a lot of focus on safety, ride quality, performance. So you get to kind of bundle all those together with well-informed customers. That makes it a lot of fun. And that we take that feedback back to our engineers and certainly want to develop the most compelling products in the market.
One of the to bring it back to the trade audience, our industry audience, what's your message to our motorhome manufacturers?
Well, I think it's continued flexibility. We've had a lot of great discussions, as I've been in the seat for the past year on looking at, what the new platforms entail. Again, these are primarily driven on major emissions changes. And when we kind of look at that, what at the end of the day, you have a regulatory requirement to comply to, but how can you make the product better? How can you improve the quality? How can you improve the performance? And for them too, a lot of that is how can you best package the chassis for them to build upon? So I think we're always looking for creative ways to do that, to take proliferation and complexity out just to build a better product. And within Freightliner Custom Chassis, they've got a long-term partner that's going to have that dialogue and look for win-win, so we can make sure that we're progressing together there, because there's no one single solution. We've got to find ways to keep them unique in their markets with their products, but at the same time too, how do we build high-quality chassis coming off our lines?
But at what show are we likely, or are consumers likely to see a strong Freightliner presence in the short term?
Hershey for sure. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of display, and every year we bring it for Tampa. So I'm excited to that one. Last year I was double booked. I didn't get to make it to the Tampa show, so that's always nice to get there too in January for many reasons. But just to be able to meet with all the builders there and customers, looking forward to that. But when it comes to the marketplace, we certainly have a strong showing, not only at the major shows, but certainly customer and dealer events throughout the year.
All right.
TJ, one last question, and this a bold question, I guess. The motorized market has been sluggish over the last several years. How are you guys seeing your business develop?
Well, I think it's stable and steady right now, but excuse me, we might have to come back this one. Lost my voice here.
That's a good way not to answer a question. I love it.
We'll do a B-roll, but no, right now, again, it's coming off those peaks post-COVID, right, where we're down overall 50%. I mean, that's significant, but I think we've kind of stabilized. I don't know if we're saying we bounce along the bottom here, but, obviously very sensitive to interest rate movement. So hopefully by the end of the year, we get some movement there. We'll start to turn things around. So we're seeing more of the same through 25, but optimistic that we start to turn the corner in 26 and start to see an increase in volume, both on the Type A and the Super C.
Okay.
Geez, we look forward to seeing you at the shows. And Brian Hankey and some of the other characters, friends of
Yeah, it's just such a great team. They just expertise in the marketplace, have the relationships. So we look forward to those shows, every single year. And, hopefully you swing by and see us.
Yeah. TJ, I want to thank you for your time.
No, thank you, guys. It was great to catch up. Look forward to meeting you in person.
Very good. Very good.
Very much so. Thank you.